Thank you for joining us today for this free training, which is the 5 steps to becoming a healthy business leader. My name is Cameron Harris. I'm the co-founder of Truth Fitness, and this is Craig J. Simons, who's the head coach here at Truth Fitness. He runs all of our VIP programs. You may have seen on our LinkedIn, all of our marketing, that the 6-week rapid result system is our kind of premium product. It's the program that we have built over many, many years of testing and trialing, and it works specifically for business leaders, business owners, senior executives that are looking to get into great shape in just 6 weeks, despite all of the kind of busy scheduling and the stress and all the drinking and the travel that comes around. That program is specifically built for somebody like yourself. So this training today, we're going to talk about the 5 kind of steps to becoming a healthy business leader. And we're joined by Craig, and he's going to take us through those 5 steps individually. And we've tried to pack as much value into this as we possibly can. So Craig, over to you.
Yes. So what you'll notice as we go through all these pillars, they all interact with each other. You'll see how they all help. And this is why we start on habits very, very first, because everyone's different. Cameron's different to me. I'm different to Tony, etc. We've got to understand that base, where you are, where you want to go, where you've come from. And it's very much like if you've ever seen anyone talk about body language and stuff like that. A lot of people think scratch your nose means that you're lying, but actually you have to understand the person's baseline before you can put in the responses to what they're doing. So if somebody's already training extremely hard, eating a good amount of protein, sleeping well, they might be going down more a performance and sort of strength system. While you might have someone that's drinking an awful lot, highly stressed, maybe doing lots of running, not working the muscles how we want to work them. So everyone's different. So the first thing, baseline, is understanding that person's habits. Then from there, you can build out the program to suit them to get their goals as well. And so, I'd say that's why it's so important to know what they're doing at first.
Cool. And just, specifically with our kind of clientele, obviously we're specialists in dealing with helping business leaders, business owners, senior executives, all around the world now, actually, but we started in the City of London. That's where most of our clients kind of come from. Insurance, finance, all those kind of high stress, high pressure jobs. What would be kind of like the top 2 most regular habits that you see that are detrimental to that type of client's health?
Especially when it comes to, this is what's quite good as well. Like, you've got the city, and then you've got certain sectors of the city that actually will have, if you look, different habits most of the time. So a lot of the time, just as a base, not every single person would probably be stress and then alcohol consumption, but not everyone. But that's pretty much the standard, especially in certain sectors in the city. And if you can get those under control, then you can get incredible results. Hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think it kind of rolls quite nicely into the next, secret pillar, which would be nutrition, which obviously, is a very highly contested, highly argued area. Yeah. But I think the main thing that I see from talking to hundreds of business leaders is a little bit of confusion about what works and what's going to be best for them. You've got keto and calorie counting and all these different kind of methodologies, but I feel that the way that we do things is really simple and obviously very effective. So tell us a little bit about your approach to nutrition then as well.
Yeah, so again, you're going from those habits and you're going into nutrition. And then what you're trying to look at, one, you don't want the client to be hungry all the time. And that's one big factor. And there's many different factors that create hunger. It can be emotional. It can be a blood sugar drop, etc., all these things. But normally if you create the right nutrition for most people, even if they've got elevated like HbA1c, which is going on to type 2 diabetes, the protocol that we've created will help them become full better. Most of the time, most people don't get good quality protein in, as a little secret really. And also they're a bit confused about what's healthy fats. They have no idea. So there's a lot of pushing in the markets to sell certain fats that are actually very cheap to produce, which in my opinion aren't particularly healthy and oxidize extremely easy. So it's going to create more inflammation. So the nutrition is based to, one, get you quicker, stronger, faster. Do you know what I mean? We want you to recover. Make sure you're getting the protein in for your body, getting that protein synthesis. Second, we want your hunger hormones to respond correctly. So when you eat, you're full and You don't need to eat again 25 minutes later, 30 minutes later, an hour later. That's really going to help you as well. And then also it's understanding that you don't need to eat 5 times a day. Eating the right foods will keep you full for that long period of time. And obviously, as I said earlier, making sure you recover as well and getting away from those foods that are going to be a lot more inflammatory. And we all know alcohol isn't great, right? We know that that's decreases protein synthesis, brings down sleep. Do you know what I mean? Increases inflammation. They call it a depressant, not because it makes you depressed, because it actually brings down your anxiety, right? It's a social lubricant. If you're very nervous, have a drink, Dutch courage, that sort of thing. You'll feel a lot more calm. But the problem is when that's coming out of your system, the anxiety will come back up. So it's a vicious cycle. So if you can control that as well, understand it, it all comes together.
And there'll be a lot of people watching this, business owners, people that are senior executives in the city. Obviously, it's a high stress, high pressure environment as standard, and they demand the higher salaries because they're dealing with high levels of stress, running teams, etc. And an observation that I've seen is that it's used as a stress reliever. And as you've kind of alluded to, it's a bit of a slippery slope. So if there is someone watching this video that is using alcohol as a way of inverted commas de-stressing and feeling better, what would be your one piece of advice for them they could take away and maybe start to make a bit of a positive change around alcohol?
So people that we've worked with that have suffered, let's say what you'd call manic depression, let's say that's like the worst of, they've actually found it really hard to get out and do anything, really difficult. A lot of people suffer from that from lockdown. Is what you got to remember is you've got to create new foundations for yourself. And so the alcohol's there for a reason. Okay, it's there to help de-stress, and there's a lot of pressure on you. But if you've got that energy, you're probably very successful. So you've got a bag of energy there, and you drive probably for your family, for the business, for people you care about. But what you got to do is move that energy over to things that are the good habits that's going to help you. You can still have the drinks and stuff, but it's got to be in moderation. Don't use it as a coping mechanism. You can put in your training, doing it correctly, eating well, and all these things will slowly work together. And actually, if you cut down the alcohol and you eat correctly, the good actual bioavailable protein with the healthy fats, good fats help with hormones, testosterone, growth hormone, all these regulations. And basically, if you get them in sync, you won't need those alcohols as much. Do you see what I mean? So you've got to move that energy over. Good training, good nutrition, improve your sleep, and then you'll suddenly notice, I don't need it as much, That's why I've built those foundations. And you become stronger.
And obviously, us as a company and you and I and the rest of the team, we see the kind of change that happens in people when they start training and eating right. It's radical, right? I suppose people watching this video, it might be quite difficult to understand, but just eating better and training properly are really going to have a positive impact on all those key areas. Alcohol specifically, because we were just talking about it. But onto another interesting sector and something that's really has got a lot of bullshit information out there. People are very confused about what's going to work for them. One of the major kind of issues that I see with business leaders, very short on time, and it's important they do the right type of training based on their level, etc. So just over to you then, Craig. What would be your kind of your main advice around training?
So again, as we said at the beginning, you've got to see where that person is. So I don't mind people doing their marathons for charity and all this sort of stuff, but marathon is too far, it's too much for the human body, in my opinion. That's why people will go, oh, if you do this, give money to charity, right? I don't see it's healthy or what it's going to do. It can be exciting, it can be this, and it can be beneficial. But we're designed to move. And the big issue is I think we've spoken about a lot of the time, is what lockdown did to a lot of people while they put on weight is they started to move less and maybe eat the same, but still put on weight, right? And so the big issue is your muscles are there for a reason. You want to keep off dynopenia and sarcopenia for as long as possible. We normally have those as we age. So one's muscle wastage, basically, and the other one is muscle strength loss over time. So if you think about your grandmother or mother or whatever, who, if they fall, they get injured quite easily. We get more brittle as we get older, but we can hold that off best we can. So you want to, work your muscles through a good range of motion. You don't have to go overboard. Like, I need to be able to get my leg around my head. That's not healthy either. There's an extreme. There's a sort of ratio where you want to be. You want good range of motion, but you don't need to go and be a yoga master. You can go and do that, it's fine. But one, you want to have good range of motion. And secondly, you want those muscles to be strong, and you want healthy muscle tissue. Because remember, most of the like with your glucose, like 80% goes into the muscle. If you've got poor and healthy muscle, like marbled with fat and this, you're not going to utilize the energy properly. Guess what? Ain't going to be pulled in. It's going to be put into the adipose tissue, or you're going to build fat in the liver, all this sort of stuff. And over time, most people are getting heavier while getting weaker. That there is a total, that's not what you want. It's a mind my language, a shit show, right? You don't want to get weaker and heavier. You should be the opposite. If I was going to get heavier, I'd want to be stronger. I'd be like, right, I'm trying to get my PBs up. But most people they build up weight over time. This is where the training is. You've got to stimulate that healthy muscle, strength, conditioning. And you know what? Once you get into that habit, most people don't turn back. They love it, So hold off dynapenia, sarcopenia, good range of motion, increased strength. And also, last thing, when they look at rates of mortality, some of the biggest positives to bring that down is one, healthy muscle tissue. And that's the proper word, healthy muscle tissue, not through any of the sort of chemical enhancement, because that's, again, outside the health remit. And also strength. Strength is probably the most important, especially when they're looking at the studies now. Get yourself as strong as possible. Doesn't mean you're going to get massive. It doesn't mean that. So healthy muscle tissue, strength, good range of motion, you're onto a winner.
And when people haven't been strong as well, they don't really know the feeling of being able to do anything, or simple things like being 55 years of age and being able to pick your grandkids up and walk up the stairs and pick the shopping up. And it we take it for granted when we're young, but as you do get older and you've really punished your body through long hours, stress, lack of sleep,
jogging,
poor nutrition,
just jogging and
nothing else. Of jogging, and you've got knee pain, hip pain. It's something that really everybody, in that age bracket, 45 plus, needs to really start focusing on really quickly. So perfect kind of answer.
Also, I was going to add to that as well is that if you're finding it hard getting out of your seat, then you've got to start doing the work, because it's only going to get worse.
It's a problem, right?
Yeah, massively. Yeah. You shouldn't be struggling getting out your seat. If you are, you need to improve that healthy muscle tissue and strength. And nutrition all helps this as well. So it all comes together.
And just onto the kind of the next pillar then, which I think we both agree is probably one of the most important and marries everything up, because without it you're not recovering, right? So just tell us a bit about kind of sleep and your advice around people getting better sleep and the benefits.
So again, this is where all the nutrition and the habits and all this sort of sleep is completely connected to sort of like stress. Just think of sleep is where all the magic happens. You see little kiddies as they're growing up, they sleep like that, right? You've got to be worried if your kiddie can't sleep. You really want to sort that out. But most kids, no matter what they go through, they can sleep, they recover, they grow, and they're way more metabolically flexible, and they're not as damaged, right? The big problem is as we get older, we do decrease, most of us, well, virtually everyone will actually. Everyone decreases in testosterone in men. That's like our vitality sort of hormone. It's going to make you feel bigger, stronger, quicker, faster, more positive. You're going to feel more stable, all that good stuff. In women, that converts into estrogen, and also testosterone and estrogen within themselves are a little bit like your shield against cortisol, which is your stress hormone. So if you think about stress, like if you have too many coffees and you can't, you feel unstable, and you're constantly in that sort of unstable chaos. Now, if you're not recovering, you're going to get more muscle breakdown. You're not going to utilize energy as well. You're not going to be as strong. You might get more mental health issues. There's tons of different things. So that's why sleep is so important. You could be training extremely, extremely well, and it would help with a lot of things. But if your sleep is absolutely terrible, you are not going to be optimal. And stress and sleep is definitely one of those things, what we'd call metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is what you could say insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, all these different things. So normally if you've got metabolic syndrome, you'll have poorer health outcomes when anything sort of hits you. If you get ill from any type of cold, virus, etc., you're already in an inflammatory state, you're only going to get worse. And normally it's more downhill from there. So that's why alcohol is so contraindicated when it comes to human health, because it affects your sleep, it's going to affect hormone levels, and it's going to affect recovery. everything you need to stay young, stay vibrant, and recover. But you can still drink, but you have to understand the damage it's going to have on your sleep. And the biggest issue is people that have been drinking for a long time, they might find that they think they sleep better when they have a drink. But it actually, when you look at the studies, it might feel like you're sleeping, but actually you don't like drop into your REM sleep and all this stuff. So it's like a false comfort, if that makes sense. So if you get your sleep, someone can change their composition if they sleep well, and it can be massively beneficial on all those things I've just said.
Yeah, and just a client springs to mind. Obviously, we won't mention names, but the way that they kind of reduced alcohol, especially in the week, was a big change for them because suddenly they were able to sleep better. They were recovering. They felt more energy. They didn't have these kind of peaks and troughs in their energy as well. So just a real world example of just how, you know, reducing alcohol can positively impact your sleep really, really quickly.
Yeah, and sometimes the thing is that when if you're drinking, you have to be like, again, habits. You've got to look and go, how much am I drinking? You've got to be honest. You've got to look at it. Like it might not even be drinking, right? So you could be working with someone, and they might have an emotional attachment to something like food that they feel shameful about. So what they might do, they might not tell you because they don't feel good. Maybe something from younger, whatever. This is where the trust has to go in, because the more we know, if you're honest and go, look, Craig, I drank a bottle of red, another one like this, I go, okay, I can be honest with you. I can tell you what's going to happen. I can do my best to try and offset that. But if you want to get to here, we're truth. We've got to tell you the truth, right? And hopefully with that talking, it often helps, you know. And so it all comes together. It could be dark chocolate for some people. You know, dark chocolate's not too bad, but if you're eating 16 bars, no, that's a bit too much. 5 bars a day, it's like a lot of energy, right? And but it all comes together.
Cool. And then finally, the kind of, you know, something that really helps people change their mindset around movement and, you know, the choices they're taking through the day, whether they're getting their escalator or taking the lift or wherever it may be. NEAT. So tell us a bit more about NEAT, what it means and how it can benefit people watch this video.
Yeah, so through NEAT in here, because it stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Okay, so it's everything you do in a day that's not exercise related. So it's an easy way to go steps, movement, hands, whatever, all this sort of thing. Recently, there's a study that's recently sort of come out that basically went, the more steps you have, the lower rates of mortality. I'm quite good at reading studies and stuff, and so you know, there's many other factors than just walking. Like that study's going, these people walk a lot, whatever. But if you look, it's the fifth one down on there. It's not our first, it's not our second, it's not our third, it's not our fourth. But it does have an important place. So most people that normally get more steps in normally have more healthy user bias. So they're going to train more efficiently, eat better. They're going to be moving around. They're not going to be as still. So what we do is just to make sure we're keeping the movement up, is put in like a number of steps. Make sure that every time you have a chat, don't be trying to lean like this. It's actually a really great way to go. Let's work on your body language. Let's get you into a positive state. You're going to feel better if you sit up, shoulders back, like so, then slumped in the seat like a moody teenager, right? Like we all know what that's like, right? And so basically, it's that little bit of the icing on the cake. If someone's training really well, eating super well, all that sort of good stuff, the steps don't have to be as focused on. But the big problem with a lot of people who went through lockdown, they don't understand what happened. They went, I'm eating exactly the same, but I've put on a stone or 2 stone. It's because, I'll give you a little anecdotal story. I had a friend who worked for a big gym in Wood Green, and she went into lockdown, and we're chatting. She goes, she was already fit. She was in shape. Do you know what I mean? She basically went, I'm only doing about 3,000 steps today at the minute, because she was like a gym manager. And then I said, how many were you doing when you were at the gym? She goes, if my manager was there, probably 25,000. Do you know what I mean? She'd be walking around moving these weights, putting them all down. But what she did, she just didn't eat as much. She just stopped. Like, I've got no appetite. See, what most people do is they don't do that. What you're supposed to do, if you're not moving around as much, you don't need as much energy. Most people, because they're such stressed lifestyle, they don't quite know what their eating habits are, and they're eating the wrong foods that are going to spike your hunger hormones, is they move less and eat the same. So let's say you move 500 calories less per day, but you eat still 2,000 calories a day. That's could be 500 calories over what you're utilizing. Times that by 7, you're going to slowly put on weight, and then you're going to feel worse. You're not moving as much. Boom. Well, that's why if you actually had a look through lockdown, a lot of people went, "Oh, go out for a walk. It's going to help your mind," and all that sort of thing. So that's why even it's when I'm talking now, this is neat. Using my hands, having energy in my voice, being positive. But watch people sometimes that actually find it hard to get into that good shape is when they sit down, everything's conserving energy. The biggest issue with fasting in most people is their NEAT would drop down from a study. I think their NEAT dropped down, this was people training, by the way, by about 250 calories on a fasting day. Do you know what I mean? Like suddenly you lost 250 calories from a fasting day, then it's going to offset what results you can get. If you can still move at the normal amount, you're onto a winner, right? So that's what it is. Just make sure you move, sit-ups, good posture, positive, get those steps in, and that's going to be like the icing on the cake and help with that recomposition, let's say.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for those, Craig. So those are the 5 secrets to rapid weight loss. As you've kind of seen, the title is the 5 secrets. They're also the 5 pillars of our 6-week rapid result system. So just to summarize the video, this is the pillars that we use for our 6-week rapid result programs. That program is specifically for business leaders, business owners, senior executives that are low on time, high on stress, probably drinking too much, traveling a lot, stressed with the kind of, the running of a business and everything that brings. Over the last kind of 6 years as Truth has been around, that's all we've done is focus on those specific types of clients, and we get them incredible results in just 6 weeks. And Craig is the main man. He'll be the person that will be looking after you on that VIP program. Underneath this video, there is a small button which is called the book a call button. That call would be a strategy call with me. So essentially, if you're someone that's watched this video and is kind of inspired to take action, want to start making changes around your health and your lifestyle, but you're not too sure with kind of how you should take that information Craig's given you and do something with it, then the next port of call will be to jump on a quick call with me. I can give you, understand a bit more about your goals, understand how we can help you. And, there's no obligation to buy on that call. It's just simply a strategy call. If we can help you, then great. I'll move you to the next part of the application. We can talk a bit further about our program. Worst case scenario for you is you gain half an hour of my time. I can give you lots of information and kind of give a bit more clarity, build that strategy around the next steps for you. Thank you very much.